The grand hall of the Virulent royal palace glowed with soft blue light. Thousands of alien eyes watched in silence. Royal banners hung from every pillar. The floor shimmered like glass beneath their feet. Princess Irina stood at the center, dressed in a long gown of silver and green, her wings folded behind her back, her head held high. She was calm, proud, but her eyes often drifted toward the human standing beside her. Ryan Hale stood in his clean uniform, medal pinned to his chest, crest of peace, gifted by Queen Zermera herself. His leg was still healing, but he stood tall, straight, brave, the way a soldier should. Today was more than a ceremony. It was a message to two worlds. Queen Zermera stepped forward and raised her voice. We once believed peace was impossible, that humans and virulens were too different, that we could never trust each other. She paused, looking at Ryan. But then, one human stepped into danger alone, returned with my daughter in his arms, wounded but alive. She turned to the crowd. Let his actions speak louder than our past fears, today be remembered as the first step to true peace. The hall echoed with soft clicks, the virulent way of applause. Many still looked unsure, but many others nodded. Queen Zermera looked at Ryan. You may return to Earth now, with honor. A hero not just to your people, but to mine as well. Ryan bowed. Thank you, Your Majesty. But as he turned to leave, a voice stopped him. I'm not letting you go alone. He turned, and saw Irina walking toward him, her eyes glowing. Gently, the hall went quiet. Irina, the queen said softly. I've made my decision, the princess said. He saved my life, but more than that, he opened my eyes. She stood beside Ryan. Our people need to understand each other. They need to see that trust is possible. And I want to be the bridge. You would leave your home? The queen asked. I will always be your daughter, Irina said. But I believe my future is with him. Ryan was speechless. Are you sure? Irina nodded. You fought through fire, war, and pain for me. Now I walk beside you. The queen stepped forward, slowly. She looked at her daughter for a long moment, then she smiled. It was small, but real. Then go, she said, and carry my hope with you. Irina stepped forward and hugged her mother tightly. Mom, she whispered, voice shaking. I'm back, and I'm safe because of him. The queen's hands held her close. Then may the stars protect you both. 1 week later, a sleek Virulent ship landed quietly on Earth, near the International Space Station. Soldiers, scientists, and leaders watched with curiosity and fear. Then the doors opened. Princess Irina stepped out first, followed by Ryan. His leg was better. His smile was stronger. They were welcomed with cautious hands, but also with awe. Ah, human and an alien together, and not as enemies. Ryan returned to his home city, where people cheered his name. But he never took full credit. He always said, it wasn't just me. Irina saved me too. She was given guest status by Earth's leaders. She lived beside Ryan for a time, learning human language, customs, even food. She hated coffee. Loved chocolate. She grew to love music and the stars above Earth, and everywhere they went. People whispered, that's the alien princess, and the soldier who saved her. Months passed. Peace talks grew stronger. Trade began between Earth and the Virulent Empire. And it all started with one jungle moon and two hearts that refused to give up. One evening, Ryan and Irina sat on a quiet rooftop. The city lights glowed below them. Stars above were calm. Do you miss your home? Ryan asked. Sometimes, Irina said. But I don't feel lost anymore. She looked at him. You gave me more than rescue. You gave me a new world. Ryan took her hand. You gave me something too. You made me believe we could be better. She smiled. So, what now? Ryan thought for a moment. We keep walking. Forward. Together. Far away on the Virulent throne world, Queen Zermera stood at her window, watching the stars. Her advisors still argued. Her generals still questioned. but she only smiled. "My daughter is alive," she said to herself, "and with that human, I know she's safe." Back on Earth, Ryan and Irina stood before a group of students, young humans and Virulon children sitting side by side. Ryan said, "Peace isn't a weapon. It's a choice," Irina added. "And sometimes, peace begins with a single act of courage." The children clapped, and the future looked bright. The stars outside the window of the military transport ship looked cold and empty. Inside, young human soldier Ryan Hale sat quietly, adjusting the straps on his armor. He was only 23, one of the youngest soldiers on the Earth's defense corps. But today, he was being sent on a mission no one else wanted. "Target location, Jungle Moon Rixer, deep in Virulon territory," said the mission commander through the briefing speakers. "Objective: confirm the fate of the missing Virulon princess. Extract if alive." The room went silent. Everyone had heard the rumors. The Virulon's giant insect-like aliens had been at war with humans for years. Now, there was a fragile ceasefire. But the Virulon Queen's daughter, Princess Irina, had disappeared during a rebel ambush. She was believed dead, no one's. "Coming back from that place," muttered one of the older soldiers. Ryan looked up. "I'll go," he said, his voice calm. The room turned toward him. He wasn't famous. He wasn't even top of his unit. But his eyes held something different: determination. "You sure?" asked the commander. "Yes," Ryan replied. "If there's a chance she's alive, someone should try." The drop pod shook violently as it entered Rixer's atmosphere. Ryan held tight. Red lights flashed inside the cabin. "Systems failing," the pod AI warned. "Prepare for crash landing." The pod smashed through thick trees and slammed into muddy ground. Smoke hissed from the broken panels. Ryan groaned, checking himself for injuries. His suit was cracked at the shoulder, but he could move. Outside, the jungle of Rixer was hot, dark, and alive with strange sounds. The trees stretched high above, their glowing leaves lighting the shadows. Alien birds screeched in the distance. Ryan drew his rifle and began moving. His map flickered. A faint signal blinked somewhere east, a distress beacon, Tech. He followed it. 3 hours passed. Ryan moved carefully, stepping over roots and crawling under vines. He found signs of battle-burned grass, shattered weapons, broken armor. Then, a blood-stained bracelet, the emblem of the royal house. He whispered, "She was here." A low growl made him turn fast. Raxan beast, tall as a small truck. With 4 eyes and needle-like teeth, charged from the bushes, Ryan fired. The blasts hit its chest, but it kept coming. He jumped aside just in time. Rolling on the ground, he raised his weapon again and fired at the beast's leg. It roared and collapsed. Panting, Ryan climbed to his feet. He continued forward. By nightfall, the signal was stronger. He reached a destroyed outpost, ancient Virulon stone mixed with human steel. Half the roof was gone. Inside, broken lights flickered. He stepped through, quietly. Then, a blur moved. Ryan turned, rifle ready. "Stop," he shouted. "I'm not here to fight." From the shadows, a tall figure stepped out, thin, covered in battle-worn armor, her wings folded tightly against her back. Her golden eyes glowed in the dark. "Princess Irina," Ryan whispered. The alien girl looked weak but dangerous. Her claws were raised. "You're human," she hissed. "I came to rescue you," Ryan said. He removed his helmet slowly, showing his face. "Look, I'm not your enemy." Irina's body trembled. "Humans attacked us. Why would you save me?" "Because your mother believes you're still alive," Ryan said. "She's waiting. Let me take you home." Irina's eyes narrowed. She lowered her claws slightly. Her body swayed. "I haven't eaten in 2 days," she said softly. Ryan dropped his backpack and handed her a meal bar. She looked at it, sniffed it, then took a small bite. Her eyes widened. "It's good." Ryan built a small fire outside the outpost. Irina sat nearby, her wings resting on the ground. "You really came all the way just for me?" she asked. "Yes," Ryan said, stirring the flames. No one else volunteered. "You're foolish." "I've been told that before," Ryan smiled. She tilted her head. You're not what I expected. Humans are supposed to be cruel. Ryan shrugged. Some are, but most of us, we just want peace. Same as you, I think. She looked away. The rebels didn't want peace. They attacked me even though I'm royal. Said my mother was weak for trusting humans. Did you escape alone? She nodded. My guards died protecting me. A silence fell between them. Ryan tossed her a blanket. Get some rest. I'll keep watch. Irina stared at him. Would stand in the cold for me? You've already lost too much, Ryan said. I won't let anything else happen to you. That night, the jungle came alive again. Strange glowing insects floated near the fire. A loud howl echoed in the distance. Ryan stood alert, his weapon ready. Irina, half asleep, opened her eyes and whispered, You're still awake? Of course, Ryan whispered back, Go to sleep. I'll keep you safe. She watched him for a long moment, then closed her eyes. For the first time in days, she didn't feel fear. At sunrise, the ground shook. Ryan and Irina jumped to their feet. What was that? She asked. Drones, Ryan said, scanning the sky. A sharp buzzing grew louder. He grabbed his gear. They found us. Irina's eyes widened. They'll kill us both. Ryan pulled her behind a tree. We can make it to the hilltop. There's a cave. I saw it yesterday. Move. They ran through the thick brush. Laser blasts hit the trees behind them. Ryan shielded Irina with his body as they sprinted. She stumbled, but he caught her. One drone hovered in front of them, charging its weapon. Ryan raised his rifle and fired once. Twice until the drone exploded in sparks. They reached the cave. Sliding inside just before more blasts hit the rocks outside. Breathing hard, Ryan leaned against the wall. We can't stay here long, he said. They'll send more. Irina turned to him. Why do you care so much? He looked into her eyes. Because. If it were my sister out here, I'd want someone to do the same. She stared at him, silent. Outside, the drones circled like vultures. Ryan looked at her, determination in his voice. We're not dying here. I'll get you home, I promise. Smoke still filled the cave's entrance as Ryan and Irina sat in silence. Outside, the jungle of Rixer burned where the drone had exploded. Trees crackled in the distance, and the sharp smell of scorched leaves filled the air. Ryan cleaned his blaster and checked his wounded arm. A piece of shrapnel had cut through his sleeve, leaving a long red line across his skin. It didn't make a sound. Irina noticed the blood. She moved closer. You're hurt. Ryan shook his head. I've had worse. But she knelt beside him, her golden fingers gently touching the wound. You protected me again. Her voice was quiet. I said I would, Ryan replied. She looked into his eyes. For the first time, she didn't see an enemy. She saw someone real, someone brave, someone kind. As the sun rose higher, they knew they had to move. The cave would not stay safe for long. There's a rescue point on the North Ridge, Ryan said, pulling up a half-broken map on his wrist display. If we reach it, I can signal my command for extraction. It's far, Irina said, frowning at the rough terrain. I'll carry you if I have to. I can walk, she said firmly. I'm not weak. Ryan smiled. I didn't say you were. They began walking through the thick jungle, the ground soft beneath their boots and claws. The jungle buzzed with life-strange vines moved on. Their own and glowing bugs followed them like stars in the air. Irina stepped carefully. We used to study this moon in my science lessons. I never thought I'd have to survive on it. Well, you're doing great so far, Ryan said. Better than most humans would. She tilted her head. You're strange, he chuckled. Takes one to know one. Later, they came upon a river wide fast and filled with thick black roots. A broken metal bridge hung above it, almost ready to fall. We'll cross here, Ryan said. Irina raised an eyebrow. It looks like it'll collapse. Then we don't breathe too hard on it. He went first, testing each step. The metal creaked, but held. Irina followed behind him, her wings tight against her back. Halfway across one of the plates. Snapped, Irina slipped. Ryan. He spun and grabbed her hand just in time, pulling her back up. Her chest heaved. You saved me? Again. I'm keeping count, he joked, trying to calm her. By midday, the heat was worse. Ryan's armor grew heavy. His arm ached from the cut. Irina noticed his steps slowing. "We need to rest," she said. "No time." "Fall over." Ryan sighed. She was right. They found shade under a thick red tree. Irina pulled out the human meal bar he had given her earlier and split it in half. "Eat. You need it more." "I'm not offering," she said firmly. Ryan smiled and took the food. "You act like a soldier," he said. "But also like a princess," she nodded. "My mother trained me for both." "Tell me about her." Irina's face softened. "She's strong, proud, but kind. She loved my father deeply. After he died in the war, she changed, became harder, colder. But she never stopped loving me. He's waiting for you, I know." Suddenly, a loud shriek echoed from the jungle. Both of them stood up quickly. From the trees, 5 alien creatures dropped down, skull-faced predators with sharp claws and glowing red eyes. They looked like wolves made of bones and shadows. "Ravagers," Irina whispered. "Jungle hunters." Ryan raised his weapon. Back to back. Irina drew a small energy blade from her belt. The first Ravager leaped. Ryan fired, hitting it. Mid-air dot. The second one circled behind. Irina slashed it across the chest, green blood spraying. The fight was fast, brutal. Ryan's shoulder took another hit. Irina's leg got scratched. Finally, all 5 creatures lay dead on the ground. Ryan panted. "Well, that was fun." Irina was breathing hard too. "Next time you fight them alone, no deal." They laughed for the first time. As they walked again, the jungle began to change. The trees grew taller and blacker, the air hotter. Rivers turned into lava streams. The North Ridge wasn't far now, but the path ahead was dangerous. Where? Entering the fire zone, Irina said, "Old volcanic land. It's unstable. We'll move fast." They climbed a rocky hill. Lava bubbled below. One misstep could mean death. Ryan went first, offering his hand when Irina slipped. "You keep risking your life for me," she said, annoyed but touched. "That's what humans do," Ryan said. "At least the good ones." Suddenly Ryan's comlink beeped. "Static, faint signal," he muttered. "Command, this is Ryan Hale. I have the princess. Repeat a haver request immediate extraction." Pause. Then a voice crackled back. "Coordinates received. Extraction in 6 hours. Hold position." Ryan smiled. Irina blinked. "We're going home?" "Yes, we just have to survive." "A little longer." They found an old lookout point on the ridge, half covered in vines, but still strong. Ryan set up a flare. Irina sat down beside him. The sun was setting, casting golden light across the sky. "Thank you," she said softly. "For what?" "For everything. For seeing me as more than just an alien." Ryan looked at her. "You're more than a princess," he said. "You're brave. You've been through hell, but you're still standing." Irina smiled. It was small but real. She looked up. "When I tell my mother about you, she won't believe it." "She will," Ryan said. "I'll be right there." But before they could rest, a warning beep came from Ryan's gear. "Enemy signal. Approaching fast." "What now?" Irina asked. He checked the scanner. "Rebel patrols. 3 ships. Headed straight for us." "Can we run?" "No time. We fight." The wind howled across the ridge as Ryan stared at the small scanner in his hand. Red dots moved closer with each second. "Virelin rebels. They're almost here," he said quietly. Princess Irina stood beside him, her wings folded tight, her face calm but tense. "Then we fight." Ryan looked at her. "You don't have to. I can hold them off until—" "No," she interrupted. "I'm not running anymore." He nodded. "All right then. We fight together." They quickly set up a defense. The old lookout point had broken walls and scattered crates enough to form cover. Ryan laid out his last few explosive charges along the narrow path leading to the ridge. "When they get close, I'll blow this path," he said. "It'll slow them." Irina placed her energy blade on a rock and checked her arm. The claw wound from earlier was healing, but still painful. I don't know how many are coming, she said. If they brought assault troops, we hold. Out, Ryan replied. We just need 6 hours. Suddenly a deep hum filled the sky. The first rebel ship flew above the trees, casting a long shadow over them. Then another, and another 3 landed near the base of the ridge. Enemy troops began to pour out. Blaster fire rang out. Ryan and Irina ducked behind the wall. Sparks flew as shots struck stone. They're testing our defenses, Ryan muttered. Trying to push us out. Irina peeked over the wall and fired a shot from Ryan's spare rifle. 1 rebel dropped. 2 others ducked back behind rocks. Nice shot, Ryan said, impressed. I've had training, she replied. For the next 30 minutes, the ridge became a war zone. Blasts shook the earth. Smoke covered the sky. Ryan took a hit to his side, but kept fighting. Irina's breathing grew heavier, but she didn't stop. Ryan triggered one of the explosives. Fireball lit up the ridge path, sending rebel soldiers flying. They bought time, but only a little. By the second hour, the rebels changed tactics. A heavy drone hovered above, firing down with powerful cannons. We can't hold much longer, Ryan said through clenched teeth. Irina pointed toward a nearby slope. There's an old transport station down there if we reach it. Ryan understood instantly. Maybe there's a ship. Even if it's broken, maybe we can fix it. Better than dying here, she said. Ryan checked his gear. Only 2 grenades, 1 damaged rifle, and a half-dead cum unit. All right. We move. On my signal, he threw a flash grenade into the smoke. Now, they ran, dodging blasts, jumping over fallen logs and rocks. Behind them, the ridge burned. The old Virulent station was covered in vines and moss, hidden deep in the trees. The walls were cracked, but the structure was standing. Inside, dust filled the air. Broken lights flickered above. Ryan pushed open a rusted door, revealing a hangar, and there it was, a ship. Old, damaged, but real. A Royal Scout transport. Irina said in shock. That's my family's crest on the side. Can it fly? Ryan asked. If we can fix the core, maybe? They rushed inside. Irina ran to the cockpit and powered up the controls. Sparks flew. The screen blinked on, weak but alive. Main engines offline, she said. But the backup thrusters are intact. Ryan crawled underneath the engine panel. I'll reroute power manually. You get the weapons online. Irina looked at him. You sure you can do it? Ryan smirked. I've patched worse things. Under fire. Outside, the rebels followed the smoke trail and found the station. A new wave of troops moved in. They're coming, Irina warned. Ryan shouted back from under the engine. Buy me 5 minutes. She activated the external turrets. 2 working cannons turned toward the jungle entrance. Irina grabbed the controls and opened fire. Boom. Boom. Rebel troops scattered as trees exploded, but more kept coming. Ryan's fingers moved fast, rerouting. Wires, fusing connections. Sparks burned his gloves. His vision blurred from the heat. Then the engine hummed. It's alive, he yelled. Start it. Irina pressed the launch code. The ship shook. Lights turned on. The cockpit glowed green. They're boarding, she cried out. Ryan grabbed his rifle and ran to the ramp. 3 rebels had reached the entrance. He shot 2. The third fired, hitting his leg. Ryan fell. Gritting his teeth, he aimed again and took down the last one. Irina appeared, eyes wide. You're bleeding. No time, Ryan said. Get us in the air. The ship lifted slowly. Fire and smoke behind them. Rebel blasts hit the sides. 1 engine sparked. The ship swayed. Just hold together, Ryan whispered. Irina flew low, dodging trees and rebel fire. The ship groaned under pressure. Ryan crawled to the gunner's seat and opened fire at the pursuing rebels. Command, this is Ryan Hale, he shouted into the cum unit. We're airborne. Requesting escort or emergency pickup coordinates, transmitting now. Static, then signal locked. Rescue team, inbound. ETA, 20 minutes. Ryan sighed in relief. Irina smiled through her sweat. We might make it. But the rebels weren't done. From behind, a large enemy fighter ship appeared twice the size of theirs, fully armed. They're locking missiles, Ryan warned. We can't outrun them. Then we fight, Irina said. She turned the ship sharply, heading into a deep canyon. The fighter followed. Trees whipped past the windows. Rocks crumbled from the edges. Ryan fired the rear cannons. The fighters swerved but stayed behind. They're too fast, Ryan shouted. Then we slow them down, Irina said. Hang on. He flew straight toward a rock wall. At the last moment she pulled up. The ship scraped the edge, but the enemy ship slammed into the cliff behind them, exploding in flames. Ryan looked back, shocked. You're insane, he said. She laughed. You would have done the same? Finally, the clouds broke above. Them, 2 human fighter jets arrived. Vanguard 2, hail. We have you in sight. Cheers filled the ship. Ryan collapsed into his seat. We made it. Irina looked over at him. He was pale from blood loss. You need help, she said. I'll be fine, no, she whispered, gently placing a hand on his chest. You saved me. Now let me save you. The sky above shimmered with soft blue light as the human rescue ship. USS Valor carried Ryan and Irina out of Rixer's deadly atmosphere. The jungle world slowly disappeared behind them. Ahead was space dark, peaceful, endless. Inside the medical bay, Ryan lay on a bed, his leg bandaged and his armor removed. His face was pale, but his eyes were open. Irina sat beside him, her claws gently resting on the edge of the bed. You should be resting too, Ryan said softly. She shook her head. Not until I know you'll be okay. Ryan smiled weakly. It's just a leg. I've got another one. You're always making jokes, she said. But her voice was full of warmth. And you're always saving me when I pass out, he replied. They shared a small laugh. A human medic entered. We'll take care of him now, Princess. This Queen's flagship has arrived. She's waiting for you. Irina stood slowly, her wings stretched a little. Tell Ryan when I return. You don't want to wait until he wakes up, the medic asked. Irina looked back at Ryan. She's waited long enough. The Queen's flagship, the Viewership Crown, hovered outside the Valor, protected by royal guards and a shield wall of glowing silver. The Queen herself had traveled across 2 systems after receiving news that her daughter was alive. Inside her chamber, Queen Zermera stood tall and still, wearing her silver battle crown. Her 6 golden eyes stared at the door. Her long robe flowed behind her like river water. Beside her, generals and advisors whispered, unsure what to expect. Then, the doors opened. Princess Irina entered slowly. The room went quiet. Zermera stepped forward. Her claws trembled. For a moment she didn't speak. Mom, Irina whispered. I'm back. The Queen rushed forward and embraced her daughter tightly. Tears ran down her eyes, glowing softly under the light. My child, thought I lost you forever. I thought so too, Irina said. But a human saved me. Gasps filled the room. Zermera stepped back. What did you say? He risked everything. He fought rebels, carried me when I was weak. He refused to leave me behind. A general spoke. That's impossible. Humans are... No, the Queen said sharply. Let her finish, Irina continued. He treated me with kindness. He gave me food. He trusted me, and I trusted him. Zermera looked into her daughter's eyes. What is his name? Ryan Hale? The Queen was silent for a moment. Then she said, Bring him to me. Ryan, still limping, entered the Queen's chamber an hour later. His uniform was cleaned, but the signs of battle were clear. His bandaged leg, his bruised face, and his tired eyes. He bowed, though it hurt. Your Majesty, the room watched him closely. His dozens of alien eyes. He stood alone. Zermera walked toward him. She was twice his height, her crown glowing with silver energy. She looked down at him not with anger, but with wonder. You were the one who brought my daughter back? Yes, ma'am. Why? She asked. Ryan paused, then said because. No one else would. And because she mattered. Not as a princess, as a person. Zermera studied his face. You are not a warrior, Not truly. I'm a soldier, Ryan said, but I'd rather save lives than take them. The Queen's expression softened. And you did save one. My daughter. She turned to her guards. Let it be known this human is under my protection. Virelin shall harm him. One of her advisors objected. He is still an enemy soldier. Zermera raised a hand. No, today he is a savior. She looked back at Ryan. You brought light into our darkness, human. For that, I owe you more than words. She removed a small glowing pin from her robe, crest of peace. The highest honor of the Virelon people. She placed it on his chest. Irina smiled proudly as the room watched in silence. Later in the ship's garden chamber, Ryan sat beside Irina under glowing blue leaves. Flowers swayed without wind. The air was soft and warm. I thought she was going to crush me, Ryan said with a chuckle. She almost did, Irina smiled. But in a good way, you told her everything? Yes, even the jokes. Ryan groaned. Great, so she thinks I'm a clown? No, Irina said, her voice gentle. She thinks you're special. They sat quietly for a while. Ryan looked up. What happens now? I stay with my people, Irina said slowly. And you return to Earth, I suppose? Yeah. Silence. Again, but Irina added, maybe I could visit, or you could. Ryan looked at her. You'd want that? She nodded. I trust you. More than most of my own kind. And I like your stories. Ryan smiled. Then I'll bring more, and better ones. They both laughed. The human and Virelon leaders met later that day. The Queen shared her story, and for the first time in years, both sides spoke not with weapons, but with hope because of one young soldier and one brave princess.